There is a power that separates the extraordinary from the average, a force so simple, yet so rare, that most people live their entire lives without ever mastering it. That force is concentration. Not just the ability to sit still, not simply avoiding distraction, but the deeper power to direct all your energy, attention, and thought toward one single, dominating purpose, until the result becomes inevitable. Let me be clear. You cannot be great at anything if you are scattered. Scattered effort produces scattered results. Divided focus produces diluted power. Concentration is how you gather all of yourself, your mind, your intention, your desire, and point it like a laser at the thing you want most. Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they try to chase too many things at once. They jump from goal to goal, project to project, opportunity to opportunity, never going deep enough to create momentum, never staying long enough to build mastery. But success doesn't come to the distracted. It comes to the focused. Think of the sun. When its light is spread across the sky, it warms. But when that same light is focused through a magnifying glass, it burns. Your mind works the same way. You have the raw energy. You have the creative power. But if it's not focused, it's wasted. So the question is, what are you focused on really? Not what you say you're focused on, not what's written in your journal, but what you actually give your time, your energy, your best hours to, because what you focus on consistently becomes your future. Now, let's talk about the enemy of concentration, distraction. We live in a world designed to steal your attention. Notifications, noise, news feeds. Everyone is competing for a piece of your mind. And if you're not deliberate, you'll live your whole life reacting to everything around you and creating nothing of your own. Let me tell you the truth. If you don't control your focus, someone else will. That's why concentration is a discipline. It must be trained. It must be protected. It must be renewed daily. You create boundaries. You cut off the non-essential. You build routines that support your highest priorities. Because the world won't hand you silence. You must claim it. And once you do, once you learn to block out the noise and tune into what matters, you'll find something incredible happens. Your thoughts sharpen. Your actions align. Your results multiply. That is the power of concentration. It's not just mental effort. It's mental alignment. It's saying no to the good so you can say yes to the great. It's choosing depth over variety, consistency over chaos, purpose over popularity. And it's one of the rarest, most valuable traits in the world. Because in a distracted world, the person who can focus becomes unstoppable. Let me ask you something personal. When was the last time you sat with one idea, one goal, one vision, one challenge, without switching tabs, picking up your phone, or letting your mind wander like a child in a toy store? If you're like most people, you don't struggle with capacity. You struggle with commitment. The truth is, it's not that you can't focus. It's that you haven't trained yourself to focus long enough to create impact. Because real results don't come from a few minutes of attention. They come from sustained mental pressure, like a river cutting through rock. Not because of its force, but because of its persistence. That's concentration. You don't need more hours. You need deeper ones. Hours where your mind is fully present, fully engaged, fully alive. That's how you build something that lasts. That's how you write the book, launch the business, master the craft. And let me tell you, the ability to stay with a thought, to work through the resistance, to not escape when it gets boring or tough, that's a rare power. But if you master it, you will outpace everyone around you. Because here's the ugly truth. Most people quit mentally long before they quit physically. They're still working end of night, but their minds are elsewhere. Scrolling, wandering, escaping. Not you. Not anymore. You're going to practice deep attention. You're going to reclaim your mind from the noise. You're going to become a person of uncommon mental strength. And it begins with this mindset. Nothing else matters right now but this. That one phrase can change your life. Say it when you sit down to write. Say it before a conversation with your child. Say it during a workout. Say it in moments that matter. Because when you give yourself fully to the task at hand, you enter what the great minds called flow, that sacred zone where time fades, your thoughts sharpen, and results accelerate. But flow doesn't show up by accident. It shows up when you eliminate distractions, when you clear the mental clutter, when you stop trying to multitask your way to greatness. Multitasking is a myth, a trap, a fast path to mediocrity. The greatest performers in any field don't divide their minds, they dedicate them. So starting today, cut the noise. Schedule your solitude. Protect your focus like it's your most precious asset because it is. Remember, you are not short on potential. You are short on concentration. But that can change starting now. Now, let's break something wide open. Focus is a decision, not a mood, not a talent, not a personality trait. It's a decision, made every day, made every hour, made every minute your mind is tempted to drift. You don't wait to feel ready to concentrate. You train yourself to get ready. You build rituals. You design environments. You set triggers that pull you into deep work like gravity. Because here's a brutal truth. Your results are not based on how smart you are. They're based on how well you can sustain focus on what matters. Smart people with scattered minds rarely win. Average minds with deep concentration, they change the world. Why? Because they finish. They finish the book. They finish the project. They finish what others keep restarting. And that is what separates producers from dreamers. So let me give you a challenge. Choose one thing, one goal, one outcome that matters, and give it uninterrupted attention for the next 30 days. No more half effort. No more checking your phone every 12 minutes. No more starting 5 things and completing none. Just one target, one daily commitment, one full force focus session every day. You do that and watch your results compound like never before. Now let's talk about clarity. You can't focus if you're not clear on what you want. You can't hit a target you haven't defined. You can't commit deeply to something you're only half sure about. So before you build focus, you must build clarity. Ask yourself, what exactly am I trying to create? Why does it matter to me? What am I willing to give up to make it real? Because make no mistake, focus always comes with sacrifice. When you say yes to one thing, you're saying no to 1,000 others. No to distractions. No to short-term thrills. No to approval seeking. No to ease and comfort. And that scares people. That's why most live in shallow commitment. Because it gives them a back door. A way to quit without calling it quitting. But deep focus closes that door. It says, parted prosodies. This is the path. There is no plan B. I will stay until it's done. And that, my friend, is when your life changes. Not when you get motivated. Not when the stars align. But when you lock in, tune out the noise, and give yourself fully to what matters most. That's concentration. That's power. That's the making of greatness. Let's take it even deeper. Concentration isn't just about your work. It's about how you live. It's how you listen. It's how you speak. It's how you show up in every single moment. Have you ever had a conversation with someone who's fully present? They're not glancing at their phone. They're not waiting for their turn to talk. They're with you, fully, focused, intentional, and you feel it, don't you? That's the power of concentration in real life. It creates connection. It creates impact. It creates respect. When you focus, you become magnetic. In a world of scattered minds and short attention spans, the person who is grounded, steady, and clear becomes a rare force of influence. Whether you're a leader, a parent, a partner, or an entrepreneur, your ability to concentrate is your edge. It's not just what you do. It's how deeply you do it, how committed you are in each moment. Because that commitment compounds. Now here's something most won't tell you. Your energy follows your attention, and your life follows your energy. So when you allow your attention to be hijacked by trivial things, You drain the fuel that was meant for greatness. You only get so many high-quality hours in a day. The rest is noise. So what are you doing with your peak energy? Are you using it to build, to learn, to push forward? Or are you squandering it, jumping from screen to screen, app to app, never quite present, never quite productive? Because here's the truth. Every distraction has a cost. Every time you break your concentration, you pay in time, in energy, in progress. And that cost adds up, quietly, silently, until one day you look back and realize you've been busy for years, but never got where you meant to go. But it doesn't have to be that way. You can reclaim your attention. You can protect your mind. You can live on purpose, not just pass time. It starts with small decisions. Put your phone in another room. Close the extra tabs. Say no to the unimportant. Create a space that honors your priorities. These aren't productivity hacks. They're acts of self-respect. Because you are capable of so much more when your mind isn't scattered across a dozen things that don't move your life forward. So take your attention seriously. Treat it like sacred fire. Direct it where it matters. And watch your life catch fire too. That's the quiet, revolutionary power of true concentration. Let's get something straight. You don't need to be busy. You need to be focused. The world loves to praise hustle, to glorify doing 100 things at once. But hustle without focus is just motion without meaning. It's not about doing more. It's about doing what matters most, with every ounce of attention you have. Because success doesn't come from scattered energy. It comes from intentional force. You don't boil water by turning the flame on and off. You keep the heat steady. You let the pressure build. You wait until it reaches the point where something changes. That's concentration. The ability to keep the flame lit, especially when things get uncomfortable. Because let's face it, focus is not always exciting. It's often repetitive. It's often quiet. It rarely feels like a breakthrough. But over time, it becomes one. Because behind every breakthrough, every genius move, every quantum leap was a long stretch of deep, boring, committed concentration. That's the stuff no one sees. That's the stuff that separates talkers from doers. So if you're in that quiet grind right now, stay there. If you're showing up day after day, working on the same chapter, the same business, the same discipline, keep going. You're building pressure. You're boiling water. And when the moment comes, you will burst through while others are still switching tasks, starting over, chasing novelty. And here's something most people won't admit. Avoiding concentration is a form of fear. Because if you actually focus, if you actually committed, you might have to face failure. You might have to risk not being good enough. You might discover your idea needs more work, more discipline, more courage. So people scatter themselves. They stay busy. They jump from thing to thing so they never have to feel that edge. But that edge, that discomfort, that's where the gold is. That's where you stretch. That's where you grow. That's where you win. So don't run from focus, lean into it. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Because the person who can hold their attention through discomfort, distraction, and delay, that's the person who owns the outcome. Not the one with the best ideas. Not the one with the loudest voice. But the one who finishes the job. And that could be you, if you decide it will be. Let me give you a truth you may not want to hear. You are the one scattering your focus. Not your phone, not your boss, not your kids, not the news, not the algorithm. It's you, because focus is a habit. And like any habit, it's built by repetition, not intention. You don't become focused by wanting to concentrate. You become focused by training yourself to stay present when every fiber of your being wants to run. You don't rise by downloading another productivity app. You rise by disciplining your attention until your mind obeys you, not your impulses. And here's how that begins. You create containers for your mind. You say, this next hour is for writing. This next hour is for strategy. This next hour is for deep listening to my child, my spouse, my team. And when your mind wanders, because it will, you gently but firmly bring it back. That's training. That's how focus is forged. You don't judge yourself for drifting. You practice returning over and over and over again until coming back becomes second nature. And when it does, when you stop being dragged by every shiny thought, you become powerful. Because now you're not just thinking. You're thinking on purpose. You're not just reacting. You're responding with clarity. And in a world where most people live in mental chaos, your focused mind becomes a force of transformation. It's not magic. It's not talent. It's not just how you're wired. It's a choice, a practice, a muscle that grows stronger each time you say, "This is my task. This is my moment. Nothing else matters right now." That level of presence, it's rare, it's magnetic, and it's where your power lives. You'll begin to notice something. You'll get more done in 1 hour than most get done in 5. You'll feel lighter, less scattered, less anxious. You'll sleep better. You'll think clearer. You'll own your time because you're no longer letting the world yank your attention around like a puppet on strings. You've taken the strings back. And now, with your mind as your ally, there is nothing you cannot create. Let's talk about one of the greatest concentration killers of all: mental clutter. You know what I mean. Those open loops, that unfinished email, the laundry list of to-dos you carry around in your head like a backpack full of bricks. You sit down to focus, but your mind is buzzing. Not because you're not smart, but because you haven't cleared the noise. Concentration can't live in chaos. Your brain is not a storage unit. It's not meant to hold 50 random reminders. It's meant to create, solve, lead. So give it space. Write things down. Make decisions quickly. Delegate where you can. Close open tasks that drain your mental battery. The clearer your mind, the sharper your concentration. And while we're here, let me give you a hard-earned truth. You don't need more information. You need more implementation. A scattered mind constantly consumes, but rarely applies. It reads the book but doesn't act. It attends the seminar but changes nothing. It starts but rarely finishes. Concentration brings the cure. When you focus, you stop chasing everything and you start executing something. You move the needle. You close the loop. You make progress that can be felt. And with that progress comes confidence. Confidence doesn't come from affirmations. It comes from evidence. When you finish what you start, when you deliver on promises to yourself, you begin to trust your own mind. That trust becomes strength, and that strength becomes momentum. Let me also say this. A concentrated person is intimidating. They're not loud. They're not chaotic. But they have a quiet certainty about them, like they know where they're going, and they're not interested in detours. You can feel their energy. It's calm. It's intentional. It's sharp. You can be that person, not because you've mastered everything, but because you've chosen your path and you protect your attention like it's sacred. Because it is. You only get so much of it in a day. Don't give it to what doesn't serve your vision. Don't waste it trying to please everyone. Don't spend it on things that drain and distract. Invest it, concentrate it, and you'll see what once felt impossible will begin to yield to your focused will. Now, let's strip it down to the core. Focus isn't just about productivity. It's about power. The power to hold a vision in your mind clearly, consistently, relentlessly, until that vision becomes real. Every great invention, every masterpiece, every enduring business or movement began as a concentrated idea in someone's mind. That idea wasn't a quick thought. It was an obsession. It was visited again and again, shaped, refined, nurtured, until it became something no one else could ignore. That's the force you're tapping into, not just to get more done, but to bring something into the world that didn't exist before you focused on it. And that's what makes this principle sacred. You are not just learning how to manage your time. You're learning how to direct your creative force. Because without concentration, genius remains scattered. Ambition becomes anxiety. Potential stays dormant. With it, however, even ordinary talents become extraordinary. Because the person who can focus longer, can build deeper, can see further, can do more with less. But there's one more thing. Focus must be aligned with values. If you concentrate on the wrong thing, you may succeed, but you'll end up climbing the wrong mountain. So check yourself. What are you concentrating on? Is it aligned with your purpose? Does it serve the life you want to build? Because the sharper your focus, the faster you'll go. And if you're headed in the wrong direction, you'll just get lost faster. That's why real concentration always starts with clarity, not just of task, but of intention. When your focus aligns with your core values, when your effort reflects what truly matters, you don't burn out. You burn brighter. You work with fire in your belly. You wake up with direction. You go to sleep with peace. And every day, you're building something real, something that matters, something only you could bring to life. All because you chose to concentrate, not once, but again and again and again, until that choice became who you are. Here's a truth that few people recognize until it's too late. Your attention is your life. Where you place your focus, there goes your time. There goes your energy. There goes your future. So if you're not in control of your focus, you're not in control of your life. Let that settle for a second. Most people think they're just distracted. But what they really are is dispossessed. They've handed over the reins of their mind to their devices, to dopamine, to urgency, to other people's agendas. They don't own their day. They react their way through it. And by nightfall, they're exhausted, but strangely empty. That's what happens when you live without concentration. You stay busy, but you never move forward. You start projects, but don't finish. You consume, but don't create. You talk about potential, but never realize it. It's a silent epidemic, and it's stealing more dreams than failure ever could. But you have a choice. You can reclaim your focus, not all at once, not with one heroic act, but by deciding again and again that your attention is yours. Every time you sit in silence and think deeply, you're winning. Every time you turn off a distraction to stay with the task, you're training your mind. Every time you complete what you set out to do, you're building power. And here's the beautiful part. The more you focus, the easier it becomes to focus. Your brain adapts. Your nervous system calms down. Your thinking becomes clearer. Your results become real. You'll notice that while others feel overwhelmed, you feel anchored. While they rush, you move with purpose. While they scroll, you build. Because you've developed something that no app can sell, no school can teach, and no one can fake. Mental discipline. That's the real wealth. That's the difference between a scattered life and a life of deep meaning and contribution. And it always begins with concentration. So let me leave you with this. In a distracted world, the rarest currency is attention. And the richest people mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, are not those who have the most, but those who can give the most focus to the few things that truly matter. They don't waste their days. They don't bounce between tasks like a pinball. They don't dilute their purpose by chasing every shiny thing. They build. They create. They finish. And it's not because they were born with monk-like discipline. It's because they chose concentration and practiced it until it became who they are. You can do the same, because you weren't born distracted. You were trained into distraction, and you can train your way out of it. You can reclaim your mornings. You can protect your time. You can filter out the noise and give your energy to what actually moves your life forward. It starts with one choice, 1 hour without distractions, one task done with full presence, one day lived with full intention. That's the seed. And if you plant it and keep showing up, keep watering it, keep protecting it, you will grow a mind so sharp, so steady, it will cut through every obstacle in your path. You'll stop getting pulled in 100 directions. You'll stop settling for shallow wins. You'll stop leaking power through mental holes. And instead, you will channel it. You will build momentum. You will tap into the greatest superpower available to any human being, the ability to direct your own mind toward a worthy purpose and hold it there until that purpose becomes reality. That's what this is about. Not just success, not just performance. It's about self-mastery. Because when you master your focus, you master your future. So make the decision. Today. Now. Be the rare one. Be the focused one. Be the one who finishes. Your life will never be the same.